Welcome to 7Edition, now with a completely new look. I'm Xantia Rohaizad and these are the headlines. No end to Pasig pollution crisis. Residents to file class action suit. Prime Minister wants Felda settlers' lands to be merged into large estates. And explosion rocks Florida Mall and leaves 23 people injured. With no end in sight to the Pasir Gudang pollution crisis, residents in the area are now getting more and more restless. Because of this, the Sungai Kim Kim Toxic Victims and Pasir Gudang Pollution Action Committee will be filing a lawsuit against 11 defendants, including the Johor State Government and Menteri Besar over the issue. The lawsuit represents 160 people, including 34 students and 120 fishermen who were affected by the pollution. Lawyer Kamaruddin Ahmad said the lawsuit will be filed at the Johor Bahru High Court on July 17th. Majority of the victims are asking for compensation between 4,000 and 5,000 ringgit each and leaving it to the courts to decide on other compensation. The lawsuit is also seeking a 5 million ringgit compensation for general damages suffered by Irfan Wafi Idham Wazir. The 12-year-old suffered from myokemia after he was believed to have been exposed to the toxic pollution in Sungai Kim Kim in March. Meanwhile, in a viral social media post, a 38-year-old woman from Cahaya Masai was alleged to have died from breathing complications caused by pollution in Pasir Gudang yesterday. Her husband had also urged the government to take stern action to resolve the pollution crisis. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad in a statement today, however, clarified that the woman did not die from the pollution crisis in Pasir Gudang. The statement added she was suffering from hypertension over the past 10 years and had died from decompensated heart failure. Records also showed the deceased did not seek treatment during the Sungai Kim Kim or the June 20th pollution incident. After more than 3 months, authorities in Pasir Gudang, Johor are still clueless over the latest wave of chemical pollution to hit the industrial district. The federal and state governments are still scrambling to trace and pinpoint the possible source of the air pollution affecting the area. Our reporter Wan Izul Islam travels to Johor to investigate.
This is Pasir Gudang, Johor, where there is at least 252 chemical factories in this area. Air pollution has gotten so bad in Pasir Gudang that recently over 300 students from 31 schools showed symptoms of dizziness as well as difficulty breathing, where at least 127 students were sent to nearby clinics. Now, let's go find out more about the air pollution here in Pasir Gudang, Johor. Let's go.
Authorities, still baffled with the cause of the symptoms affecting the children, have inspected at least 153 chemical factories. Investigations have found that at least 101 of those factories have committed an offence under the Environment Quality Act. After speaking to residents living in close proximity to these chemical factories, many have expressed their disappointment in how the crisis is being handled by authorities.
Bagi saya sekarang ni saya rasa macam risaulah sebab belum tahu lagi apa punca. Kita sebagai penduduk ni lagi-lagi dekat Nusa Damai, dekat dengan area sekolah. Jadi kita rasa macam tak selamat juga. Tapi tak tahu punca apa sebenarnya.
We are in dark, we don't know. Yeah, we just only have to rely on the speculation or rumors or this kind of thing. I think it's not so good, but we have no source to rely on. We have wait for announcement from governments or related agencies, but we have found nothing that we can say that we are safe or what actually happened.
With authorities still puzzled at exactly what is causing the second wave of air pollution here in Pasig, Johor, residents, especially parents of school children, are frustrated with the uncertainty of their situation. Speculations as to why only school children are being affected. One of the theories is during a warm summer's day, in the afternoon, hot air will start to rise and children in the third and fourth level of school buildings will start developing symptoms due to little to no ventilation. Action is being taken by vacating that of the third and fourth floor of each school building in Pasig, as well as installing gas detectors as an added safety measure. The Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change Ministry, MESTEC, has also vowed for stern action to be taken against factories committing offences that are compromising the safety of residents.
Dan beratus-ratus pegawai kita dari JAS, dari MPPG, dari APM, beratus-ratus pegawai untuk dapatkan bacaan. Siang malam mereka pergi dapatkan bacaan, ya, untuk mencari punca. Dan kita ada puluhan pasukan penguatkuasaan siang malam juga pergi tengok, cek satu kilang demi satu kilang. Kalau ada kesalahan, terus ambil tindakan.
We are now here in Sungai Kim Kim, Pasig, Johor, where it all first began. As you can see behind me, after years of illegal toxic chemical dumping as well as water pollution, the water has actually turned black and it smells horrible. Now the question remains, what will the current government do to help resolve the issue of air pollution as well as illegal dumping in the rivers? I'm Wanizul Islam with my cameraman Nur Shah Muhammad Noor, reporting for 7Edition.
Now, to elaborate more on the ongoing issue, with me now in the studio is a climate reality leader come advisor to the Center for Governance and Political Studies, CENT GPS, Dr. Renard Siu. Welcome and thanks for joining us, Doctor.
Thanks for having me.
Now, first of all, looking closely at two incidents in Pasir Gudang, what is the actual cause of the pollution and how do you think this could have occurred?
Where do I begin? I mean, first and foremost, we must understand that environmental issues in Malaysia, like, it's huge. So apart from, having issues around floods, in the east coast of Peninsula Malaysia, which has worsened over the years, we have also experienced a series of droughts, right? Like the water security issue, like in Selangor. And more recently, environmental pollution has definitely surfaced in the past couple of months. We must understand that this issue does not happen overnight. It's something that has happened gradually, and there are generally two sources of pollution, if you like. Like, first is through the direct discharge from chemical factories into the rivers itself, and secondly through actually the barrier of chemical compounds, like on land. So in a case where you actually have severe rainfall, what happens is that you get leachates that actually,
that will just go into the
river.
Right. Okay. So a few days back, it has been reported that most chemical factories in Pasir Gudang have committed offences under the Environmental Quality Act that we all know. So now, illegal disposal of chemical waste is definitely a major environmental hazard. Why does this happen, and why haven't any enforcement been done before until such pollution can occur?
So one of the criticisms that most people have is that in Malaysia itself, like, we have some of the best or most beautifully crafted policies and acts, but where we lack is really in terms of enforcement.
Executing it.
Execution, precisely. And it's only in the past couple of months that we have actually seen a ramp up of fines, penalties, and compounds being given to factories who have been dumping chemical waste illegally. Why was this not done even beforehand?
Right.
So, no, we definitely have a lot of work to do in terms of improving the way that we execute some of the policies that we have in the country.
Okay, now knowing you as an environmental analyst, could you share with us the steps on how chemical wastes are being disposed in the country, and do factories in Malaysia follow closely these procedures? And what is the worst case scenario if we allow the dumping of hazardous materials to go on?
Yeah. So when you talk about chemical waste specifically, it falls under the scheduled waste section of the Environmental Quality Act 1974. And under the scheduled waste section, like there is very clear SOPs like that need to be taken. Like so, waste generators, for example, like need to be able to report and record on the amount of chemical waste that they have generated.
So that everything is like in track.
In proper order. There needs to be an
right.
inventory up to 3 years, and there are only certain designated premises where this waste can actually be treated and placed. So there is actually a very detailed procedure. In fact, there's something called eSwiss, like the electronic scheduled waste information system, where waste generators actually have to pump in information like on that database if they were, generating.
Is it like automated?
It's online, like so. It's
Okay.
actually a requirement for factories or chemical or waste generators to actually make such reports online whenever like such compounds are being generated. But unfortunately, there are some illegal practices that we're still witnessing, where people don't actually adhere closely to what is required, like in these policies. Yeah.
Right. So if you're saying that they have that system and it's automated, that every single time something dangerous that comes in and they report, then how is it that, if we have that, how is that not happening?
So I think it goes back to the whole argument around execution, right? Like, so we have the platform that's readily available,
But they're not
are
using
people actually reporting on time? Like, are they actually doing it? It's a whole different question altogether. And I think that's where we fall short, to be honest. Yeah. And this has actually created a lot of dissatisfaction as well. So the Center for Governance and Political Studies actually did a short poll, like with the citizens, like asking, how do they feel about such issue? And a majority, 56% of them says that there's still a lot more that can be done, and we're, like very slow to action.
Yeah. Okay. So from all of this really bad things that's been happening, what lessons do you think that we can all take from this crisis? I think in a crisis situation, I think it's important to understand that all stakeholders are in it together, regardless of whether you're a legal authority, you're a citizen, like all of us have a part to play. From a legal authority perspective, what I would say is that we need to have like more proper planning. Like there needs to be proper buffers like between industrial areas and residential areas, and this comes through actually the planning of the city itself. Like because elimination is really the most effective cure. Like in this particular case. Okay, so I'm afraid that's all the time we have, Dr. Bernard. And let's just hope that we all can have this crisis just to wrap up as soon as we can, so that no other victims will be implicated in the future. So
Absolutely.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So now moving on to our next story. The government plans to merge Felda Settlers' lands to become big estates and managed by professionals. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said through efficient and professional management, these estates would in turn produce higher yields and bring greater benefits to settlers. Speaking at Felda Settlers' Day at Felda Selancar 3 in Pahang, the Premier said part of the combined land could be used for mixed crops to avoid reliance on a single crop.
Jika harga hasil tumbuhan itu jatuh, maka kita akan menderita kerana tidak dapat menampung sara hidup kita. Di waktu itu kita perlu kepada subsidi. Sebaliknya, saya tak ingat kerajaan memberi subsidi kepada ladang-ladang yang besar-besar yang di waktu harga jatuh pun mereka tidak rugi dengan banyak.
However, Tun Dr. Mahathir admitted efforts to convince Felda settlers to go down this road might be difficult in the beginning, especially with the first-generation settlers who were used to the old ways. Today, farming vegetables and fruits give better returns than palm oil or rubber, but the settlers are still sticking to old crops. During the event, the Prime Minister also launched the Settlers Development Program to help increase Felda settlers' income. The comprehensive action plan would be based on smart farming and innovative downstream activities. Moving on, Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has slammed his critics who questioned his decision to resume his duty as UMNO president after a 6-month-long leave. Speaking at the Tambun UMNO Annual General Assembly, Datuk Seri Zahid stressed that he is still the rightfully elected president of the party. Datuk Seri Zahid said certain quarters have questioned about him resuming his duties and that the decision needed to be discussed first by the party Supreme Council. He, however, pointed out that there was no discussion by the Supreme Council when he decided to go on leave. As such, there's no need for the Supreme Council to discuss his decision to resume duties now. The Bagan Datuk Member of Parliament also rejected Bersatu's invitation for UMNO and PAS to join the party in efforts to unite the Malays.
Bubarkan PBB, bubarkan mana? Sepatutnya bukan bubarkan UMNO, kita besar.
He also stressed that UMNO will reject any leader or party which marginalized the Malays and Islam. Datuk Seri Zahid previously went on leave as UMNO president in December last year following multiple corruption probes and now faces a total of 87 charges. In Terengganu, a UPSR candidate from Kelantan pleaded guilty to a charge of stealing a motorcycle at the Kuala Terengganu Magistrates Court today. He admitted before Magistrate Abdul Hayy Salim to committing the offence involving a Modenas Chris belonging to a 54-year-old man on June 26th. The 12-year-old accused, who was granted 1,000 ringgit bail with one surety, faces a jail term of not less than a year and not more than 7 years and a fine. The court set July 24th for remention. Meanwhile, 3 friends, 2 men and a woman in their 20s, were nabbed by police after going on a robbery spree involving 24-hour convenience stores and grocery shops in Terengganu and Kuala Lumpur. The arrest came after the suspects, who tested positive for drugs, robbed 2 outlets at knife point in Kuala Terengganu and then held up 4 more shops in Gombak before hiding out at the hotel on Friday. Authorities said the suspects were picked up at a hotel in Selayang at 11 a.m. yesterday after police tracked down a Pro 2 Axia that was rented by the suspects via GPS. Elsewhere in Perlis, police have crippled an international syndicate smuggling and distributing various types of imitation firearms following a raid at a house in Padang Besar last week. Authorities today said they seized about 230 fake guns and rifles worth 70,000 ringgit and arrested an unemployed man believed to be the syndicate's agent in the 8:15 p.m. operation in Felkra, Lubuk Sireh on July 3rd. It was believed that the 29-year-old suspect used his house to store the illicit weapons, which were sold online for between 100 and 2,000 ringgit and sent to their customers via courier service. Coming up, Peeping Tom traumatizes young women. Details next. We're back with foreign news. An explosion in a shopping center in Plantation, Florida has left at least 23 people injured, 2 of whom in critical condition as of Sunday. Local police department has closed all of the stores in the surrounding area. The blast appeared to have occurred in a corner of the mall complex where 2 buildings intersect. Some witnesses reported that the situation could have been much worse as the nearby gym was occupied at the time of the incident, while others said the blast came from a vacant restaurant in the complex. The force from the explosion has demolished part of a building and sent debris flying across the street, at the same time damaging cars parked at other businesses. First responders found ruptured gas lines and an active gas leak when they got to the strip mall, but did not confirm whether that had caused the explosion. Britain's ambassador to Washington has described U.S. President Donald Trump as inept, insecure, and incompetent in a series of explosive memos to Downing Street. The explosive comments come in leaked emails sent back to Britain and captured by the Daily Mail that risks undermining the UK's special relationship with America. Sir Kim Derrick, one of Britain's top diplomats, used secret cables and briefing notes to impugn Trump's character, warning London that the White House was uniquely dysfunctional and that the president's career could end in disgrace. He also warned that the U.S. president should not be written off and questioned whether the White House will ever look competent. The Foreign Office said the leak of the memos to the Daily Mail on Sunday was mischievous, but did not deny their accuracy. However, the White House has yet to respond to the revelation of the contents of the memos, but it could test the so-called special relationship between the U.S. and the UK. The leak is wrongly timed for the British government, coming just weeks after the Queen welcomed Trump and his family with a 41-gun salute and a state banquet at Buckingham Palace as part of a diplomatic drive to secure a post-Brexit free trade deal. Now let's hop on to our daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making the rounds in the cyber world today. Recently, a young woman was left traumatized when she discovered that a person was allegedly recording her in her sleep and even tried to grab her through her window at 6 in the morning. She shared the frightening experience on Twitter on Wednesday, with videos of her recording the alleged perpetrator accumulated over 160,000 views. Here's the story. In the Twitter thread, the victim expressed how she felt unsafe with a sudden encounter by the alleged pervert. Busily, without a shame, recorded the woman while she was snoozing with the flash on. Moments later, the peeper even put his hand through the window grills, seemingly attempting to grab her, but ended up grabbing the curtains instead. She further explained that she actually did not have the courage to face the creep, but was just fueled with anger that the man had the nerve to pull such a stunt, interrupting her slumber. In response to the viral tweet, netizens sympathized the young lady and even gave a suggestion on what she can do if she ever had to face the pervert again. When we return, Louis Vuitton Time Capsule exhibition kicks off in KL. Don't go away. Thanks for staying with us. Louis Vuitton Malatier is bringing their traveling exhibit, Time Capsule, for the first time to Malaysia. It showcases the story of LV using a hand-picked selection of rare objects as well as documents from their archives, starting from the brand's beginnings in 1854 to the present day. Set against the backdrop of the iconic KLCC Kuala Lumpur in the 16th city to host this exhibit. Miza Shafiza Muhammad Fuad explores its rich history.
The Time Capsule exhibition is a homage to the ways in which Louis Vuitton has anticipated the needs and the desires of a changing world for over 160 years. Now I'm already excited. Let's check what's inside.
As you walk through the front door, you are greeted by the actual LV artisans making parts for a small trunk. Fans of the LV brand can pose questions to the artisans on how it's made. The attention given by them shows they scrutinize even the smallest items, like screw, to make sure everything is perfect. What you're seeing is the essence of LV's distinctive code, or their DNA. The brand, which started out making trunks for real travel, has now expanded into a variety of ready-to-wear, shoes, watches, as well as accessories, all of bearing their iconic logo. As one of the world's leading international fashion houses, LV has collaborated with noted artists, namely Takashi Murakami, Richard Prince, and Yayoi Kusama. Taking its name from the trunk, the Magic Malay invites visitors to embark on an immersive journey through the visual and creative world of the brand. This glass trunk, one of the two pieces from their foundation Louis Vuitton, is also on display here. Now, after exploring their history and understanding their workmanship, it helped me better understand why it costs so much even for a small item with their famous monogram logo. Oh, if you cannot afford anything with an LV logo, don't worry, as at the end of the exhibit, visitors get to choose an LV postcard like this as a souvenir.
The public exhibition has travelled to Singapore, Dubai, Los Angeles, as well as Jakarta. And starting from July 7th onwards, it's officially in Kuala Lumpur. Interesting much? Find out more yourself.
Living up to its name, LV's Time Capsule exhibition will be open until July 28. Niza Shafiza for 7Edition.
Bye!
The trailer of the multi-star Knives Out featuring Daniel Craig and Chris Evans has all the elements of thrill, drama, humor, suspense, and promises to be a murder mystery. The movie will hit Malaysian theaters in November 2019, and the trailer wraps up 7Edition this evening. With that, I'm Xantia Rohaizad. Till we meet again next time, good night.